Wipta, if I tell my brother I don't want his fiancee at our movie nights. My 27, brother 30, and I've been having movie nights once a month since we were kids, or sometimes book clubs if we don't feel like watching a movie but have read the same book. His fiancee, 29, Kelly, has joined us in the past year, and I'll be honest, I hate it. Not her. She's nice and lovely person in any other context, but watching movies/series/cartoons with her, or even talking about books, is a terribly tiring experience. Every time my brother and I talk about why a character did something, she just says the director/creator wanted it that way, or this action just fit this scene, or the narrative needed the character to do this and feel that. Another time, my brother and I were watching an animated movie, and at one point I started crying because there was a really sad scene with child being attacked by their parents. My brother was also sad, but then I noticed Kelly staring at the TV, completely blank. I thought she wasn't having fun, so I asked her about it. She said she was having fun, so I asked her if she didn't like this character. I tried to have a conversation with her. She said the character was okay. So wasn't she sad? It's a fictional character. Why should I be sad for them? Like, she didn't say it maliciously. She looked genuinely surprised when I asked her about it. This made me start observing her a little more closely during the shows, and I noticed that she actually doesn't react at all. Whether something is funny or sad, she always looks at it with the same expression. And when she talks about what we watched, she focuses more on the animation/acting/voice actors, etc. I tried to adapt to her tastes and start playing more comedies, musicals, and movies that she called her favorites. But even then, I can only describe her expressions during movies as straight face. She claims that she's having fun, but the monotonous with which she talks about everything and the way she reacts really make me feel uncomfortable, as if Kelly was forced to be there. And I have to say again, I like her. In any other way, she's a really nice person. She's helped me many times in the past, and I always feel like she's one of those people who really listens when you tell them something. I wouldn't say she lacks empathy for other people, either. She's just completely different from me in that one aspect, and it really doesn't work, and it actually irritates me more and more, and I don't want it to get worse. That's why I'm thinking about talking to my brother, but I'm afraid he'll be offended or that I'm overreacting. Edit, because I feel like I didn't make myself clear. No, Kelly doesn't behave like this in other situations. She's usually more lively and emotional in conversations, and she also likes to joke around, which makes it even more awkward when all our conversations about movies go like this. Me, I really like that moment when, brother, yes, and I preferred it when this and that happened, although I can't understand why. It was just creator's intention, that's why. An awkward moment of silence. Me or my brother. So that moment in the movie, I wonder what the character felt when. Still monotonous, what creator wanted. The music was sad, so the character probably sad too. Another silence. Me or my brother. So, that scene was really funny, and she's still monotonous, yes. It was moment of silence.
Comment from user Wayfarer110. At first I was going to say NTA because I thought you wanted to have your alone time with your brother to keep up tradition, which is 100% fair, but it seems to me like you don't want Kelly there because she doesn't have the same outlook as you regarding movies. I don't understand why it bothers you so much. I'm also someone who reacts emotionally to movies and shows and get into them heavily, but it's fine if someone else isn't like that. Her comment about the director wanting it to be like that would annoy me, to be honest, if it was a constant answer to my thoughts, especially because I'm someone who really connects with media like that. So if that was the case, I would just clarify that myself and my brother really connect and feel media, and we don't look at the character as actors or the movie/show by directors and scene plans and acting. So I hope that she can understand that, because sometimes it feels like she's shutting down our comments and thoughts with such a sentence. If she makes an issue, that's when I would consider speaking to my brother, but she doesn't have to react to things the way you do. Believe her when she says she's having fun. People appreciate different aspects of art. You connect with the emotions, and she appreciates the technicalities. Nah.
Comment from JMacTruck72. No, it's really not. You have a moment, look at your brother, see him laughing/crying, whatever. Look over at sis, see her still watching. Then go back to watching the movie. During discussion time, you tell what you felt, he tells what he felt, she tells what she did or didn't feel, and you move on. At this point, you're just hyper-focused on her reaction because she doesn't react similar to the way you and your brother do, and that's on you, not her.
Reply from Op. He tells what he felt, she tells what she did or didn't feel, and you move on. Okay, but we do this, and this looked like this in practice. Me, I really like that moment when, brother, yes, and I preferred it when this and that happened, although I can't understand why. It was just creator's intention, that's why. An awkward moment of silence. Me or my brother. So that moment in the movie, I wonder what the character felt when. Still monotonous, what creator wanted. The music was sad, so the character probably sad too. Another silence. Me or my brother. So, that scene was really funny, and still monotonous, yes. It was moment of silence. And I must emphasize again that most of our conversations don't go like this. When we talk about other things, Kelly becomes very emotional and active. This makes her differences and reactions even more awkward for me.
From user the Lord of Ask Reddit. You're way over analyzing. You don't need to be quiet after she says something, or you can even say, of course that's what the creator wanted, but why? Her comments are dumb and you're allowed to point it out, somewhat respectfully.
Reply from Op. You don't need to be quiet. Yeah, I know, but the no emotions in her tone sometimes really just makes me feel like I don't even know what to say anymore / I feel completely tired and discouraged. You can even say, of course that's what the creator wanted, but why? And I did that, but she still find ways to go back to because the creator wanted it that way. Even when I try to gently ignore her and go back to what my brother was saying, she finds a way to repeat it again or whatever in the same style and tone. Like, subscribe, and check out our /as summer stories. AITA for telling my parents that I will take them to the cleaners. This is a throwaway account because some of my family has my main one. This is a very long post that I can't really condense into a TLDR. The people I will mention in this are my mom, Jen 50, my stepdad, Brian 56, and my brother Tom 23, and my sister Ruth 26. For background, Jen and Brian have been together since I was 11. Well, I say that, but 11 is the age I became aware of their relationship as she asked if we would be okay with him moving into the family home. Prior to this, she never mentioned dating anyone, and we had never spent any time with Brian. None of our other immediate relatives ever mentioned him to us, either. The day Jen asked us, Ruth was sat next to me and asked to be excused to her bedroom. Tom was not home to have an input. I was stuck by myself with Jen, who did not seem to understand how she completely blindsided us. She had no interest in answering my question about why she had not told us. Her only interest was knowing if we accepted this stranger moving in. Brian moved in the following week. After Brian moved in, there were several times where both he and Jen threatened to move away without me, Tom, and Ruth. They would say, if you don't like it, we'll get a new house and start over. This threat could be in relation to something like Brian telling me I shouldn't be anywhere in the house except for my bedroom and me standing up for myself. I used to get called stupid by Brian a lot. If I did something he didn't like, such as finish my homework before going to dinner, he would say only someone this stupid wouldn't think to eat first. Any grievance I had with Brian was never acknowledged by Jen. If I raised an issue with her, she would deflect and change the subject. Brian would cause a lot of problems knowing that there were no consequences for him. Brian never concealed the fact that he wanted Jen and only Jen. We were her baggage that he only had to put up with for so many more years. Tom, Ruth and I were no longer taking on family holidays. The last one we got to go on was when I was my godmother's bridesmaid and she had a destination wedding. I was 10. Jen and Brian would go on 3 holidays a year without us. Living under that roof was the loneliest I had ever felt. The second I became of age, I bought my first apartment and moved on. No more Brian, no more Jen. Tom and Ruth want to come with me, but Jen wouldn't allow it, and honestly, I don't know how I was to fight for them. I was working long shifts, sometimes nights. Though Ruth was a year younger than me, Tom was not. I doubt a court would appoint a fresh 18-year-old as their guardian with Jen in the picture. One thing I did leave in Jen's care was my valuable book collection. I won't disclose exactly how much it is worth, but it is in the 7-figure range. Some of these books were my inheritance. I was always told that they are to be looked after, never to be played with, and has to be stored correctly. I couldn't do that in my apartment, so Jen continued to keep them for me. I had no reason to distrust her with them. Earlier today, I called Tom as I was traveling home from seeing a friend. Tom mentioned that he had gone to Jen's house to collect some things. Because he was there, I asked Tom to find out if Jen had managed to get the remainder of my books authenticated. She and I had spoken about doing so a few weeks prior. Tom asked Brian about my books, and then Brian laughed and said, "What books?" "My books." Tom said, "No, her books that you've been looking after." Brian then repeated my books. I was listening to this through Tom's headphones, so I told him to get Brian to clarify. Tom asked Brian what he meant by his books. Brian said they're ours now. We bought them. My heart sank the moment I heard him say that. Jen was not home. I tried calling her, no answer. Eventually, she called me back a couple of hours later, but not before Brian called me a pathetic liar, and also spoke ill of Ruth and made claim to her books, which he had in fact sold years ago, still insisting mine were also his property. To confirm, I never sold anyone a single book. They did not buy me any books. All the books in my collection are to be sold at a future date or passed down to my children. Brian and Jen never gave me a single penny, so I can confirm this is not the case. Jen was unwilling to confront him about it. I am not allowing them to steal part of my children's inheritance. Jen agreed that she never bought my books, but Brian refuses to give them back to me. I told Jen that her inadequacy as a parent, failure to reprimand Brian over the years, and her lack of love for her own children has meant this moment was a long time coming. I said something along the lines of, "You neglected me. You allowed him to take my happiness away for years. You let him walk all over me. I will know."
Comment from the Summer 360. NTA, you weren't harsh at all and should follow through. Yen's record makes it obvious she won't help you nor never really planned to the moment he wanted to take claim of them and you were gone. Keep a detailed log if you can of any exchange/communication regarding these books, a list of how many there are and names, the approximate value, and hopefully any proof these are an inheritance you're entitled to. Best of luck. Comment from user Blue Topaz 83. I don't think you were out of line. They were sucky parents. You told the truth. I have to ask though, is it documented that the books were left directly to you? Do you have a copy? Reply from Up. I do. I have payment receipts for the authentications as I have to send them abroad to get them done. I keep a spreadsheet so I can update it. Everything has been paid for by me and I can prove my ownership. I also have messages from Jen where we discuss my collection, including the number of books, their names, value,